Tom Riddle, later known as Lord Voldemort, was a half-blooded wizard and considered by many to be the most notorious dark wizard ever known and the most powerful and dangerous one of all time. The son of a wealthy muggle, Tom Riddle Sr., and witch Merope Gaunt. He was orphaned and raised in a muggle orphanage, which remained his permanent residence through his 1938 to 1945 attendance at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry. He attained immortality between the years of 1942 and 1998, a process begun upon the creation of his first horcrux at the age of 16. Abandoning his muggle name, he became the self-proclaimed Lord Voldemort, commanded a veritable army of wizards and dark creatures, committed numerous murders personally and through his followers. On one occasion nearly succeeded, and on a later occasion did succeed, in taking over the Ministry of Magic by installing a puppet minister. Splitting his soul into a total of 8 pieces, Lord Voldemort created 7 horcruxes, one unintentionally and without his knowledge. This is his story. Tom Riddle was born on December 31st, New Year's Eve 1926, at Wold's Orphanage in London. His pure-blood mother, Merope Gaunt, a direct descendant of Salazar Slytherin, died shortly after his birth. Soon before her death, she named the child after his father, Tom Riddle Sr., and Marvolo Gaunt, her father. Tom Riddle Sr. was a wealthy muggle living in the village of Little Hanglington, who was tricked into a relationship with Merope through the probable use of a love potion. After some time, it is speculated by Dumbledore that Merope discontinued her use of love potions on Tom, in the hopes that he had really, truly fallen in love with her, or would at least stay for the child's sake. To Merope's great sorrow and heartbreak, he abandoned her and her unborn child. Tom Riddle grew up in a dingy orphanage, completely unaware of his visiting heritage. Since the Muggle orphanage staff did not know anything about his mother, they did not know about his magical background. Instead, they believed that Merope was a circus worker, as Mrs. Cole told Albus Dumbledore shortly before his first meeting with Tom. It is unknown whether or not the orphanage staff relayed this information to Tom before his first encounter with Dumbledore. When Tom was 11, Albus Dumbledore, the Transfiguration teacher at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, talked to Mrs. Cole first, who informed him of how unusual Tom was, sharing tales of his extraordinary influence over the other children. When Dumbledore was at last introduced to the boy, Tom at first believed him to be a doctor or a psychiatrist of some sort, come to take him to an asylum. He was convinced after Dumbledore demonstrated his power by using a flame freezing charm on Tom's cupboard, and when he revealed that Hogwarts was a school for people with magic, which Tom realized his abilities were. At a very early age, it was clear that Tom displayed a desire to be different and set apart from others, as was hinted when he mentioned his dislike of his own name, because it was such a common name. He was not surprised at all upon being informed by Dumbledore that he was a wizard. He was, in fact, eager to believe that he had special gifts that no one else had. Tom also showed an eminent fear of death, considering it a human weakness. He claimed that his mother could not have been a witch, because if she was magical, then she would have been able to avoid dying. Tom was educated at Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry from 1938 to 1945, and was sorted into the Slytherin house, a nod to his ancestor Salazar Slytherin himself. Tom received a stipend from school funds that he could purchase his books, equipment, and so on. Travelling on his own to Diagon Alley, Riddle bought some second-hand robes and spellbooks for himself, along with his wand, a 13.5-inch yew Phoenix Feathercore from Ollivanders. Garrick Ollivander later said that the wand was very powerful. Voldemort was very pleased with his wand for over 40 years, until the wand failed him during his confrontation with Harry Potter in the Little Hangleton graveyard. Riddle also mentioned that he was a Parselmouth, a very rare hereditary ability to speak to snakes, which surprised Dumbledore. Upon arriving at Hogwarts, Tom became obsessed with his heritage and began researching it with an insatiable hunger. While researching his heritage, Riddle focused solely on who his father was, thinking him to be the magical parent, as he felt his mother could not have been a witch if she had died. He searched for his father's name in the school trophy room, in the records of Hogwarts prefects, and in the records of visiting history, but found nothing to suggest his father had even attended Hogwarts. He was eventually forced to accept that his father was the Muggle parent, and that his mother was the magical one. It was around this time that Tom Riddle gave himself the alias Lord Voldemort to spare himself of the reminder of his filthy Muggle father. In the summer of 1943, before sixth term began, Tom went to Little Hangleton to learn about his mother's family. While there, he met his uncle, Morphin Gaunt, whom he was far from impressed with. Morphin mentioned offhandedly at one point during this meeting that he thought Tom looked mighty like that Muggle, Merle's husband, Tom Riddle Sr. Tom immediately demanded the identity of the Muggle in question, and Morphin told Tom the story of his Muggle father, which infuriated Tom to the point of seeking revenge. Tom went to the Riddle house and murdered his father, grandfather, and grandmother, killing corpse. He covered up the crimes by altering Morphin's memory, causing him to believe that he was the killer. When the Ministry of Magic investigated the crime, Morphin, who had previously served 3 years in Azkaban for using magic in front of and against Muggles, freely admitted to the deed and was sentenced to life imprisonment in Azkaban. Tom took the family signet ring from Morphin, unaware it was the Resurrection Stone, and wore it like a trophy at Hogwarts. During his 6th year, Tom questioned Professor Slughorn, who was taken in by Tom's charisma, about the possibility of creating more than one Horcrux, something Slughorn felt deeply ashamed of in his later years. In his mid-teen years, Riddle already sought to make himself immortal. Tom succeeded in doing so at some point during this year, creating his first Horcrux in the form of the aforementioned diary. During Tom's 7th year at Hogwarts, he was head boy and he received the Medal for Magical Merit. He was regarded as one of the most brilliant students ever to attend Hogwarts, a fact admitted by Albus Dumbledore himself. Tom created 7 Horcruxes. 6 he made knowingly, and 1 he made unknowingly, splitting his soul into a total of 8 pieces, including the piece of his soul inside his body. The 6 Horcruxes he made were the Gaunt family signet ring, the locket of Salazar Slytherin, the cup of Helga Hufflepuff, his own personal diary, the diadem of Rowena Ravenclaw, the serpent snake Nagini, and lastly and unknowingly a 7th Horcrux, Harry Potter. Tom disappeared for 10 long years. He slipped deeper into the dark arts, travelled extensively, consorted with disreputable people, began to become distorted in appearance and lost his handsomeness due to spilling his soul so many times, and began to use the alias Lord Voldemort openly. Tom appealed once more to the headmaster of Hogwarts, who was then Albus Dumbledore, for the position of Professor of Defense Against the Dark Arts. After a short, superficially amicable chat, Dumbledore directly confronted Tom regarding why he had requested the position, as Dumbledore knew full well that Tom had no desire whatsoever to teach. From that day on, Hogwarts was never able to keep a Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher for more than a year, which was attributed by Dumbledore to a course by Tom Riddle. Lord Voldemort, as he was now exclusively called, spent the next 14 years before the war gathering followers in witches and wizards who called themselves collectively Death Eaters. Some were supportive of his cause to dominate Muggles and Muggle-borns, while others were greedy for domination, wealth and fame, and yet others joined the Dark Lord out of fear. Voldemort considered them more like servants than friends or family. They freely used the unforgivable curses and killed mercilessly and indiscriminately. According to Sirius Black, Voldemort also used tricks, jinxes and blackmail to get people to join him. At some point around this time, Voldemort greatly enhanced his skills in legilimency, to the point that he became known to some as the greatest legilimens in the world. Voldemort could read, control and unhinge the minds of others, and could almost always tell when he was being lied to. According to Severus Snape, Voldemort often enjoyed telepathically invading the minds of others, creating visions designed to torture them into madness. Only after extracting the last exquisite ounce of agony, only when he had them literally begging for death, would he finally kill them. In 1970, Voldemort started the First Wizarding War by taking advantage of one of the Wizarding world's greatest weaknesses, the beings and creatures that they had outcast. The Dark Lord recruited the giants, who had long ago been driven by wizards into the mountains, and werewolves, who were persecuted by most witches and wizards. An edict that gave Aurors authorization to use the unforgivable curses on Death Eaters without warning was issued by the Department of Magical Law Enforcement, and suspects were sometimes handed over to the Dementors without a Wizengamot trial. Many innocent people were locked away. For many years after, people were even afraid to speak his name, and he was referred to as You-Know-Who, or He Who Must Not Be Named. Under the staunch protection of Albus Dumbledore, the only person Voldemort truly feared, Hogwarts remained a safe place of learning throughout the entire war. The Order of the Phoenix was created by Dumbledore at this time to fight against Voldemort. The war itself lasted for 11 long years. 10 years into the war, when Voldemort was at the height of his dominion, a prophecy was given by Sybil Trelawney to Albus Dumbledore, which predicted the fall of the Dark Lord. This prophecy was given in the Hogshead Inn during an interview for the position of Professor of Divination. There were, at the time, 2 babies born, whom the prophecy could have referred to: Harry Potter, the half-blood son of James and Lily Potter, and Neville Longbottom, the pure-blood son of Alice and Frank Longbottom. Both families had thwarted Voldemort 3 times, and both families were members of the Order of the Phoenix. Both children in question were born at the end of the 7th month, July. Voldemort chose to target Harry instead of Neville. Dumbledore suspected this was because Harry shared a similar family heritage with Voldemort, both of them being half-bloods. After a long search, Voldemort discovered the identity of Potter's secret keeper, Peter Pettigrew, and was told of their location. With the Potter's Fidelis charm broken, Voldemort simply walked into their home one night and murdered James and Lily. However, when he used the killing curse on Harry, it rebounded and seemingly obliterated his body. This happened because Lily sacrificed her life to protect her son, creating a powerful defense of ancient magic around Harry, which protected him for many years. Thus, after 11 long years of the First Wizarding War, Harry Potter defeated Voldemort unknowingly. It was at this point that Voldemort's next Horcrux was unknowingly created. Years of experimentation, murder, and deliberately ripping apart his soul into so many Horcruxes had rendered the remainder of his soul so unstable that when his body was destroyed, a small shard of his broken soul broke apart from the rest and latched onto the only living being in what remained of the room, Harry Potter himself. The soul shard latched onto Harry's own soul, granting him some of the Dark Lord's own powers, and providing him with a latent connection to Voldemort's own mind. What remained of Voldemort's mangled soul swiftly escaped from the ruins of the house that same night. Voldemort was still very weak, and about to give up all hope of regaining his body, when in 1994, his servant Peter Pettigrew, aka Wormtail, who had faked his own death years earlier and hid from authorities in his animagus form of a rat, had returned to his master. Together, they built a rudimentary body that Voldemort used for travel and performing magic. While in this form, Voldemort was forced to drink a potion made from unicorn blood and venom from Nagini the snake to sustain him. Knowing that Dumbledore was sure to have seen the Philosopher's Stone destroyed, Voldemort knew he would not be able to use the elixir of life to create a new body for himself, so he would have to settle on regaining his whole body and strength. To achieve this goal, Voldemort would require the use of an old piece of dark magic, and that required him to return to England to obtain one of the 3 main necessary ingredients: bone of the father, flesh of the servant, and blood of the enemy. He immediately began rebuilding his army to start the Second Wizarding War, while successfully taking control of the Ministry of Magic by installing a puppet minister. Over the next 2 to 3 years, Harry, Ron, and Hermione sought out Voldemort's Horcruxes through Harry's use of the mental connection both he and Voldemort shared, a connection in which Voldemort originally used to attempt to torture Harry through legimancy. They destroyed all but two, Nagini and Harry himself. Harry met Voldemort in the Forbidden Forest. Voldemort used the killing curse on him almost immediately, but only destroyed the horcrux, rendering his scar normal. What was not revealed to Voldemort was that when he used Harry's blood 3 years ago to regain his old body, the blood passed Harry's mother's protection to Voldemort and anchored Harry to the living world through Voldemort. Harry was merely knocked to the ground and feigned death. Voldemort, as a result of destroying his soul shard in Harry, was also knocked out. Voldemort and his army marched to Hogwarts, proclaiming the death of Harry Potter and his victory, forcing Hagrid to carry the body. Voldemort claimed Harry had been killed while trying to escape. Neville Longbottom, instead of surrendering, charged at Voldemort. After Neville refused to join him, Voldemort placed a full-body bind curse and a sorting hat on him and set the hat on fire to make an example of him, claiming that from now on Slytherin would be the only Hogwarts house. But at that moment reinforcements for the Hogwarts defenders arrived. Neville was able to throw the curse and pull Godric Gryffindor's sword from the hat and use it to decapitate him, destroying the last remaining Horcrux. With Voldemort in control of the Elder Wand, but Harry its rightful master, he fired a killing curse at Harry for the third time, while Harry countered with his trademark spell of Expelliarmus. The Elder Wand refused to kill its true master, and Voldemort's spell rebounded off Harry's, killing Tom Riddle once and for all. Voldemort's arrogance inevitably led to his downfall. He also suffered from a pathological fear of death, which he regarded as a shameful and ignominious human weakness. He equated death with being defeated, or a loss of domination, the ultimate humiliation. His bogart will be his own corpse, which shows his extreme fear of death. His soul now remains in limbo, torn to pieces, unable to move on to the afterlife, nor can it return to the world of the living. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you like it. It took a very long time to make. If you would like to see more videos, please subscribe, comment, like the videos, let me know what you think and what improvements could be made. The channel will be all about what the subscribers think, and thank you very much. So please subscribe if you like and tell me what videos you'd like to see next.